Cho wants to know why are the comments coming so quickly. It's because people are upset. No one. By the way, I've seen every single comment. I think I've seen every single comment at this point. None of you guys are off base. Nobody. I don't think anybody has said anything that's wild. No one has said anything that I necessarily disagree with. I'm gonna try my best to summarize everything that everyone in the chat has said, and it shouldn't be that hard because I basically agree with all of you to an extent. Like, there's a lot in here. You see, should have played Mamu or Mamu. Blake Lobb was beautiful. You see, I hate Collins out there. Wemby just needs to get in rhythm. All right, so I guess we should start off with the good. Maybe we can start off with the good. Let me get this out of the way. Chris Paul is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, now he hasn't. Wait, is this the right game? What game is this? This isn't the right game. What's going on here? Here we go. All right, much better. Chris Paul is great out there. So while he didn't have the best shooting performance, he did a really great job of finding the open man, and it was a beautiful sight to see. Right, he has to get his shooting, much better. He struggled in the preseason as well, so I wasn't really shocked that he came into this game struggling. But at the end of the day, he found the open man. If it wasn't an assist, it was a pass to assist, and I thought that the ball movement as a whole was better. So that was a huge positive. Another positive, we're going to skip around a little bit, okay, because I have a lot of negatives. Another positive is Sohan, but I'm just not that shocked. I know a lot of people really diss Sohan last season. Didn't like the fact that I praise Sohan so often, but this is who he is. He's a high basketball IQ, good defender. He has a motor. He just plays super well. I was not shocked, and I think Sohan with Chris Paul is just a beautiful sight to see because he throws dimes, and Sohan is always in the right place. I don't mean to say this. When I say this, it sounds like I'm saying like it's by accident. All right, it's by design. It's his high basketball IQ and knowing when to cut, what type of angles to take on defenders. So it is him. It's no accident, but he is always in the right place, right time, doing making the right read. So Sohan did phenomenal. No shocker there. We're going to see that all season long, especially when he has legitimate point guards on his team. It's just going to happen. Okay, so I'm not in the boat of Patrick Beverley saying that he's going to be the next Kawhi Leonard or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, I think that he is a phenomenal talent that we have. And then Julian Champagnie, obviously, he's made a leap since last season. I think when things got really tough, we could see him disappear a little bit. We could see him make some key mistakes. I mean, he wasn't the only one, right? But 3 turnovers, we don't want to see that from Julian Champagnie. I'll accept it from maybe someone who has the ball in their hands a little bit more, like Wemby or Paul. But Champagnie, it was a few in there that weren't the greatest. But overall, he is by definition a 3-and-D, right? Like by definition, he's great. And I thought that this season he would look much better, only because he'll have a different role and he has more talent around him and all of that good stuff. So when Devin Vassell comes in, I think the Spurs are going to be looking so much better. Okay, they're going to be looking so much better. So overall, he did great, and yeah, I think that might be all my positives. Everyone else that did positive, I'm neutral on it, right? Like I think Trey Jones did a good job tonight, or did he? Okay, statistic wise he didn't, but eye test he did fine. That's kind of all I got. Oh yeah, of course. Castle was good. Castle was really great. I didn't want to bring up Castle because it's going to be part of my rant, because there's some things that I really got upset about. Trey was kind of meh, actually. He was okay. Yeah, like I said, it was neutral. I wasn't super high, super low. I just thought, oh, he was Trey Jones tonight. Like, it's fine. Okay. All right. I think that's all the positives. Chat, do we have any more positives that we need to throw out there? Any more positives? Let me see if I noticed anything else. Am I the only one that loves Champagny? No, we all love Champagny. Playing Trey Jones, CP3 together is ridiculous. Okay, that's not a positive. Harrison did. Oh, yeah. Harrison Barnes did fine as well. Yeah, he did a good job. I guess it was also one of those neutral things because I just wasn't that surprised, I guess. I mean, I know a lot of people were a little worried because his preseason showings didn't look the best, but I totally expected him to be able to go in there, be a professional, and, have a high shooting percentage, which he did. He was very effective. But he's part of my rant too. Not him personally, but as a team. All they need is to trade Keldon and Collins. Wemby a bust. Okay, that's a crazy statement. Defense was good most of the first half. Bassey had one really good pass. Okay, all right. So we're pulling at straws at this point. All right, we're kind of rage bait. What are you talking about? All right, we're pulling at straws. All right, so this is what I have to say. Okay, I love Popovich. All right, I absolutely love Popovich. Obviously, the greatest coach of all time. Even in this game, in and of itself, I thought that he did a good job, especially at times. Like, I saw him pull Castle off to the side, joke around with him a little bit. He could tell that he was nervous, and he put him back in there, and he looked good. Like, Castle looked good. Even on the offensive end, he looked a little bit better, actually. I won't say he looked great or anything, but he looked better. And as the game went on, he obviously, the nerves, he shook it off, okay? So when I say this is not coming from a place of hate for Pop, okay? If anything, people say that I praise Pop too much. But good God, dude, there is no reason, in my opinion, okay? I'm not a basketball savant here, but I don't think there's any reason you should ever, or you would ever have to, not either have Castle on the court or Chris Paul on the court. There was a lineup out there that was just getting absolutely torched, man. I did not understand having this lineup out there at all. From my memory, it was Trey Jones, Champagny, Barnes, Collins, and I'm missing somebody. Who was the other player on the court? It was abysmal, man. Am I missing somebody? I'm missing some. I know for a fact. Oh, and Keldon, KJ, right, KJ, Keldon. That lineup was terrible, and you could tell it's terrible. You have nobody on the court that can get their own shot. There was no reason to have that group out there. There was no reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever. It was terrible. Actually, yes, and no defense. While I said Julian Champagny is a 3-and-D, I don't mean he's like a point of attack defender or anything. He's a good complementary piece to other defenders, right? He can be a disruptor at times, but he's not going to lock you down. That was a terrible lineup. Like, we had nobody, and there was no reason to do that. I thought there was no reason to do that. Castle wasn't hurt. Chris Paul was fine. You got to have at least one of those guys on the court. If you don't want the defense of Castle on the court at the time, you put Chris Paul out there. And Chris Paul is a elite playmaker. You got at least got to make up for it somehow. But it was like, this is terrible. This was a lineup that we would have had to force last season. That's a lineup that we would have had to do last season just because that's all we got. There was no reason this game. I am not in favor of certain players getting more minutes over others because they've been with the team longer. I am not in favor of that. Now, to Pop's credit, Castle did get more minutes than Trey Jones, right? But I'm sorry, 9 minutes for Blake Wesley, as great as he was in the preseason, as great as he was on defense, I do not understand that. I don't get it. If Wemby in this game, as horrible as he played, on the offensive end. If he can stay in the game just because he's a defensive threat, there is no reason that Steph Castle shouldn't have got as many minutes as Wemby. I'm sorry. 10 minutes less than Wemby is awful. I mean, it was just god awful. I know a lot of people are hating on Keldon this game. I'm not even mad at Keldon. I was very neutral. Like I said, I don't have anything negative to say about Keldon, really. I mean, everything about Keldon is the same, you know? It's the same. I can't really argue or get upset about any of it. It's the same. But I thought that he did fairly well, all things considered. This was not like an easy matchup by any means. But I'm sorry, guys. There is no reason whatsoever you should have on the court Trey Jones, Julian Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, and Zach Collins. That is a terrible lineup no matter who you're going against. Because at that point, who are you leaning on? Like, really, who are you leaning on? Last season, it would have been, okay, Keldon, please, for the love of God, try to get us a score. And now you have Harrison Barnes? We have to lean on Harrison Barnes? What is that? Oh, dude, thank you so much for the super chat, Francisco. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah. No, see, this is what I'm talking about. See, that you're going too far, all right? It's not go too far. Fire Pop, this is what we've been telling. No, it's no fire in Pop, okay? Pop is a phenomenal coach. Pop is an absolutely phenomenal coach. Dude, it's no fire in Pop. That's not even me saying that if that lineup was in the game, we would have won. I'm not saying that, because the other part of this rant is that those refs were terrible. I mean, they were god awful. They completely switched the momentum when they called that terrible flagrant call, flagrant foul on Sohan. How in what universe is that a flagrant? Seriously, in what universe? It's like completely just post justifying all the time. Oh, this player got a little beat up. Oh, then it's a flagrant foul. Like, come on, that was not a flagrant. Exactly, that was not a flagrant, dude. My God, no, it wasn't even close to a flagrant. That's terrible. The flagrant killed the momentum. That was the end. That was it right there. Not only that, they called like 3 or 4 travel calls on us in this game that I personally do not think were travel calls. Like, I do not think that those were travels. They called one on Wemby. They called one on Castle, and they called one on Mamu at the end. And I didn't think that one was a travel, but especially the Wemby and the Castle one. They still had their pivot foot. I do not understand that Wemby travel was BS. That was crazy. And then I don't know how many times we got hit and they didn't call a foul at all. And I don't know how many times Luka can just push off of you and not get a call. Now, I'm not saying that the refs is the sole reason why we lost this game. Obviously not, all right? The Spurs gave up 40 points in the third quarter, all right? But they definitely helped. And last but not least, Wembanyama. It's only a game. He didn't look that great in the preseason. Pop and we all knew that Wemby was going to be a little rusty. Like, Pop said he would be rusty. Everyone said he would be rusty. It's not that much of a shocker, right? We all knew, but it was bad. I mean, it was god awful, guys. Now Wemby's going to get it together. He is a superstar in this league. He's going to be a phenomenal player. I think that he'll end up being the greatest of all time. But right now, that was awful. When you start to just resort to 3-point shots, we're cooked. We're absolutely cooked. And unfortunately for Wemby, he didn't really have any time this offseason to really hone in on that. So we're going to be waiting a while before he's a consistently great 3-point shooter. That's going to be a minute. I don't think it'll happen this season. He said that he's going to take the same amount of threes and try to improve his percentages. I just don't know if that's going to be possible this season. You know? That's all I gotta say. I just don't know. But he was awful, man. Offensively. Defensively, he was still a threat. Like they obviously played around Wemby being there. But whew, I won't say I was disappointed, because I did expect Wemby to not be that great this game because of the preseason, but it was pretty terrible. Bro, chill. Luka was bad, 5 for 18 and a few turnovers. We're not talking about Luka right now. We're talking about Wemby. And Luka hasn't played, if I'm not mistaken, guys. I mean, I don't watch Dallas Mavericks ball, but Luka hasn't played all of preseason, right? Like at all. Yeah. Promise you Wemby will go off next game. I agree with you. I think Wemby's gonna be perfectly fine. I'm just being honest about this game. It was bad. It looked really bad. I mean, I don't know. It was like we were just flailing out there. But we tried. Like the Spurs actively tried to get him the ball in the post and in the positions that he needed, but it was just bad. I don't know. You guys know I'm not a Wemby hater, right? Like, you know I love Wemby. He's my favorite player in the NBA. I'm just saying this was bad. And I think I think maybe I'll be a little harsher on Wemby, only because we've seen how great he actually is, or how great he can be. So to me, him being a sophomore, he's that good till it means little to nothing to me. He is extraordinarily young, right? Like, obviously, but there was showing last season where I was like, oh my goodness. And Wemby talks a big game too, which is good to an extent. Sometimes I'm not crazy about it. Some people don't like that I criticize some of the stuff Wemby has said, but yeah. But you know what? Let me tell you this. As much as this game frustrated me and upset me and had me flustered by the fourth quarter, I will say that I think overall the team looked fine. They hung in there with the Dallas Mavericks, who literally was in the finals last season. They played hard. I don't think anyone was lacking effort or intensity. I thought it was a very intense game leading to the third quarter. So I'm proud of them in that regard. I really do think that they played hard, and they fought back in the fourth. But defensively, my two takeaways, or few takeaways, I guess, is Wemby. You know, he's really rusty right now. The refs hate us, and Popovich, that was a terrible lineup. That stretch was a terrible lineup. I don't want to ever see, ever again, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and Champagnie on the court together ever again. I never want to see that again, ever. There's no reason to do it unless Chris Paul and Steph Castle are injured. I never want to see that a day in my life. Heck, I'll even take Blake Wesley out there. You got to have at least one defender. We have so many this season. We have so many this season. You got Sissoko. Ingram going to eventually be a pretty decent defender. He's not there yet. He was in college. But you got Castle, you got Wesley, right? What are we doing? Why? Oh, and another thing someone brought up, Mamu not playing. Yeah, I don't understand that for the life of me. His defense isn't the best, right? But he definitely gels with Castle. But I think after this game, Castle should get more minutes, right? I think he really proved that this game. He did a good job. I know 3 for 7 isn't the best in the world, right? But as the game went on, he looked more comfortable. He ended up getting 5 assists. Only playing 18 minutes, got 5 assists. So plus 10 in 6 minutes says it all. It doesn't really say it all, you know. When you barely played, I mean, it's expected that when the Mavs sit their players and we sit our players, you know, whoever has the better depth at that point, you know, will have a better plus minus, you know. Yeah, that's like me going to their team here and saying, Dinwiddie played 3 minutes and -2. That's all I got. That's all. It's all right there. Like, nah, not really. It's a team stat. Chris Paul with only 3 points is crazy. Yeah, Chris Paul got to get it together. The preseason, he was very raw offensively. Like, he was not playing well. He's missing a lot of shots. Chris Paul is washed. He's a coach player. He's fine. Chris Paul is fine. Brother, get out of here with the Sohan slander. Who's slandering Oh. Sohan is trash. What you talking about? I think he's trolling. I think B-Ball Fanatic's trolling. He knows how much I love Sohan. Yeah, so, you know, Sohan has a good game and it's like, oh no, he's trash. Like, I don't know. Big troll. He's trolling. I should have bet on Chris Paul. Yeah. We look better when Castle was on the ball. Castle should have been on the court a lot. I'm a double down on this, guys. Castle and Blake Wesley, they play well together. They did in the preseason as well. They have to be on the court. I just don't understand that lineup. It really bothered me. That, along with the referee, and there was no winning that. Terrible defense. There was one play, I think it was the last Lucas 3. He saw Keldon on him. He pulled up so quick. He didn't even think about it. Oh, he didn't even think about it. That was it right there. I mean, we were already losing bad, but that was it. Yeah, he didn't think twice. He saw Keldon. It was like he wasn't even there. We just need a big man who can score. All Zach Collins does is set screens. Zach Collins is fine. He'll be fine. I was actually shocked that he hit a 3 and didn't stay around the line a little bit more or stay behind the arc anymore. That was a little strange to me because I was like, okay, that 3 looked really good. I thought that he would play more of a stretch role after, but not necessarily. No, he was in the paint a lot. I didn't understand that. I hate watching Zach. He draws so many fouls. You mean he fouls a lot? Or he draws? I don't know what you mean. I hate it. Every time Zach got in, they easily scored. Well, okay, I'm not trying to defend. I'm not trying to fully defend Collins here, okay? Because I don't think Collins was the best, and I definitely didn't like that lineup with Collins in it. But to be fair, I don't think we have many like big man defenders here. That's why I think you just got to kind of make up for it with the scoring of Mamu. Like I don't know. We're gonna be compensating for that. You know, we'll see how Bassey does, but he's undersized, so you're gonna be compensating for the lack of defense. Yeah, exactly. Zach doesn't seem like he trusts his shot yet, which is unfortunate. But hopefully, you know, as the season goes on, he trusts it more because we really need him. That's the main thing. You just got to compensate for not having the best defense in the paint. They easily outscored us like it's nothing. Yeah. And the Mavericks, I mean, they have played together too, you know, keep that in mind. I mean, they literally coming off of the finals. Not to say we had no shot at winning this game. Obviously we did. But, you know, it happens. It was obvious we needed Vassell. Yeah, one thing that commentator Reggie Miller mentioned that I didn't like at the end, he said that the Spurs just don't have enough firepower, or like we don't have enough scoring. And I'm like, I don't think that that's the case at all. Like, we have a lot of scores, right? Am I tripping here? I mean, we have scores. We have people who can score the ball. And I think Devin Vassell coming back is the big thing. That should have been a bigger takeaway than the Spurs have no scores. I mean, I know we were leaning on Champagny a lot, but I thought that was a little silly to say. Harrison Barnes has high 3-point percentage throughout his career, always, consistently. Julian Champagny, he's playing well. Chris Paul is off right now offensively, but he has scoring power. Victor Wembanyama obviously has scoring power. Zach Collins is, I mean, he should be a stretch. We'll see. You know, we got to wait on that. But Mamu definitely is a scorer. Castle can score the ball, but I don't know. We have scorers, but not shooters. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Because Sohan will be a scorer, not necessarily a shooter. Devin's going to complete the team. Devin Fasell's return is going to be monumental, okay? Because if Julian Champagnie can play as well as he played in this game, him coming off the bench is going to be sicko mode. Oh, dude, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, man, this is a tough question. All right, I'm going to answer this. We'll end the segment after this. I'll answer this because you super chatted, and that means a lot to me. All right, so the question is it too early to start getting concerned about Wemby's development? Other prominent NBA players have in the past taken huge leaps forward in their second years. Wemby today looked like early 2023 Wemby. So, all right, so I'm going to be kind to Wemby, all right? It's time to be a little kind to Wemby. So a few things are different between him and other players going into their second year. But number one, it is only the first game, okay? Preseason didn't look the best. Everyone has said that he's been rusty, all right? So this is practice, preseason, and now we seeing it in practice. In game, he's going to look rusty. That's fact of the matter. That's what's going to happen. One, I think, huge difference between him and other first years, he literally is coming off of a silver medal in the Olympics. So he hasn't really had a complete off season of just working on his game. I think mentality-wise, he might be stronger. Maybe he's more confident. He was confident already, but physical-wise, skill-wise, I don't think he had a lot of time to work on that, you know? Wemby cost the Spurs a game tonight. I don't know. He didn't play the best. I'll say that. So as far as cause for concern, I wouldn't be concerned just yet. I don't think there's any reason. To be too concerned. But at the end of the day, I think Wemby has to, he definitely has to get it together. By the way, oh dude, thanks for a super chat. Says, I think I'm betting the under on wins this year. Oh, I'm still cool with my 44. All right, I still say 44 wins. As tough as this game was to watch, you're going against the Dallas Mavericks. They are coming off of the finals appearance. The dang near championship team. I feel like if they would have won the championship last season, all of us would have been like, oh, okay. It is what it is. So don't worry about it right now. Under for sure. Is Pop too conservative with Wemby in the preseason? This was so predictable. Yes, I will say that. I thought that he was. It might also be because Pop listens to the medical staff. We have a segment on that, by the way. But Pop listens to the medical staff completely, so he puts his faith all in them. So maybe it was something that they said, but if that isn't the case and we just want to be cautious for the sake of being cautious, yeah, I do think that we were too conservative with Wemby. If he could have played and been fine, if the medical staff said, oh yeah, he would have been fine, I don't like the fact that he didn't play in the preseason that much. It was very obvious in the preseason that he needed more touches. Send Wemby to the G League. Yeah, send Wemby to the G League. Exactly. Wemby was constantly falling on the ground. Yeah, he did not have his balance. That's what I'm saying. I think it's not cause for concern. Another reason why this isn't cause for concern too is because Wemby last season, he had showings where he looked just great. We can even go to the Olympics and he looked so good in that last game. So Wemby is the real deal. We don't have to worry or speculate or anything like that. He is just rusty right now, but it's fine to critique it, I think. He got to do. I'm dying. I need water. Gosh, talking too much without water, I'm going to die. Woo! I need a super chat. I need a super chat to get water. I think it's time to end the segment. I need some water. I don't know what just happened. My throat got dry so quick. All right, in segment, Spurs were terrible, but we're okay. Give me a second. Let me go get some water. Have you seen Terrifier? I don't know. Terrifier is killing me right now. Give me a second.